Or that Okay, good morning, everybody. This is the regular scheduled meeting of Chambers County Commissioner Court in Atlanta, Texas. The 14th day of June. It is 9:32 a.m. this morning. If you can, all rise. Probably not give us some prayer.
Public time before this morning to conduct the business. My God, Lord, I just, by the way it is, the heat we're having, I just ask you to be with all our employees, especially those that come to help them to stay safe. Come back to us each day and safe. Lord, we just praise you for how you what you're doing to us. More important, we lift up this country right now. This country needs you, right? But the only way to happen is your people humble themselves and pray and turn to you to heal them, which you told us to provide. God is the director. Speak with each one here and come and speak, and may you guide them. Christ's name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and
You may be seated. For the record, Commissioner Combs is not here, and Judge Sylvia are not here.
I got a lot of room over here today.
You got some room over there. So, if you have a citizen's comment, you fill one of these out. We have some here today. Justin, we'll go ahead and go to 1.1. No, citizens' comments. Justin, you want to go ahead and speak now?
morning.
Is a green line on?
No, sir.
Can you hear me now?
Hear you now.
All right. Good morning, commissioners. I'm here on the dump ordinance. And for the most part, I'm in agreement. I just asked that for Smith Point, if y'all could go 4 days. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, because we're so far from Double Bio. The second thing, what I'm really more is the non-residents. You know, they pay taxes too, and most time it's a higher tax than what we're paying because they're non-homestead. And so if y'all limit the dump too much, they're going to start dumping all their trash, either setting it out in front of the gate or taking it to the parks and set out them cans. And so I'd ask y'all reconsider on the non-residents if they own property in Chambers County. The third thing is the trash or all the brush piling up around the dump down there. The county owns 2 acres behind the dump site. We could clear that and use that to stockpile brush and either let it rot or let the volunteer fire department go there and burn it instead of sending machines down there. But other than that, that's really all I have to say about it. Other than that, I'm in agreement. We don't need 6 days in Smith Point, and I'm up for the higher rate.
Okay.
So appreciate it. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.
We got Jared Williams on 1.2.
Good morning, Reverend Jerry Williams. It's just a simple declaration that I wanted to ask for the officials here in Chambers County, presumably the commissioners. We want to proclamate our annual Juneteenth celebration. We usually have it every year, and if possible, only if possible, if the commissioners or the officials could probably reach out to the fire department, because what we want to do each year, we want to have a parade similar to the Christmas parade that we have each year, and just make a round around the community and whatnot. And also the building that we have, we been through some red tape getting it this year, but thank God we was able to get it. Thank God for the new commissioner that he allowed us to have it on Sunday. And usually we would like to have the celebration on Juneteenth, the day of, but if not the weekend, and we would at least like to see if we could reserve the White's Park each year for that particular event, being that it's a federal holiday. That's all.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
We have David Freeman. On 5.10. We have Rusty Sinek on 5.10. Rusty, you want to wait till that agenda item or you want to speak now?
DJ, I think we were gonna have David Freeman come in on a virtual.
Okay, you want to go and do that? You want to wait till the item?
We'll wait till the item.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I think we had, we're gonna skip down to safety emergency management. I had some guys that was needing to go to another meeting. Is Ron Nichols out there? Ron. Okay, we're going to go.
Morning.
10.1 is pulled. Okay, we're gonna go to 10.2, discuss and consider building improvement at the Dobie VFD in the amount of $25,116. Ron.
So I've got Will White here from Doe Bayou, Raymond Enders, the fire chief wasn't able to be here to answer some additional questions. The Double Bayou Fire Department, I'm sorry, I've got this allergy nonsense going, so. But the Double Bayou, Volunteer Fire Department is the smallest fire department building that we have in the county. But they have several apparatus that are just sitting outside of the building, that aren't under cover because there's nowhere to store them in the bay. So they were asking for funding to build an awning around the backside and the west side, the east side of the building, the backside, the east side of the building, to give them storage space for all the additional apparatus. So they're not stored at members' houses and out in the weather and out in the open. So I worked with Mike and Roy to get kind of a rough estimate cost on the materials for the building. Raymond, was a general contractor for years, said he can build it himself unless you want him to hire an outside contractor to do it. But he's done work and built the awning before post Ike for the county at the same building. So he can do all the work himself for next to no expense with just help of the volunteer firemen. So we put it on the agenda after talking to Roy McKee. The estimated cost of materials is anywhere from 25 to 30% higher if we wait and do this as a 2023 capital project. We have emergency reserve funding that's in the fire department accounts to utilize for items like this. So it'd save the taxpayers $5,000 to $6,000 if we did it now instead of waiting until a capital project for 2023. So we put it on the agenda to ask commissioners approval, the court's approval to go ahead and fund up to the total cost of the materials, which was $21,116. It'll probably come in much cheaper than that. But if we did it right now to save the Double Bayou and save the taxpayers a little bit extra money by doing it now versus waiting until 2023.
Okay. George, do you have any comments?
Yeah, just to make sure y'all remember that that's the volunteer fire department. Y'all would just be giving them the funds if y'all have them, and then they would take care of all the construction, everything. Would not
Correct.
go through the county purchasing procurement.
Correct.
Okay.
We would
making
actually
sure we-
reimburse the fire department.
Yeah.
The
Be
cost.
reimbursement.
Yes, sir. Just thank you.
Anybody have any questions for Ron? Okay, entertain motion.
So move.
Motion by Commissioner Hammond. Second by Commissioner Fine. All right, all in favor? Any opposed, motion carries. 10.3, discuss and consider purchase of fire reporting software for VFD for ESQ Solutions in the amount of $14,580. Ron,
And that was a typo on my part. It should be ESO Solutions also.
ESO.
So ESO Solutions is software that all of the EMS services use within the county. Myself, Winnie, and Mount Bethel EMS all use ESO. ESO is the largest EHR and fire provider for software in the nation currently. They have we were looking at a different software that was acquired and purchased by ESO, which is why we went back to ESO in the first place. So currently the fire departments have access through the I Am Responding app, which does some dispatching and things of that nature. So they get their pages through Spoke and things of that nature. However, that app is not very conducive to the fire reporting. For them to be able to do their fire reports, post calls, that there is no option to do any of their reports that they responded to a med call. So it makes it hard for them to track their numbers and things of that nature. It also makes it very hard for me as emergency service director to pull their numbers and make sure that their charts are accurate versus what the calls they're responding to. So ESO will do a couple things. One, it gives them that access to do those EHRs. If they have a certified provider and the county decides, and the department gets their FRO, now they have a way to do those charts that they're required to do per state law. And it also allows us as the emergency services for the county to run a blanket report across all departments and figure out call numbers, how many med calls they responded to, how many fire calls they responded to, how many brush fires they responded to, and start tracking those numbers more accurately, which not only helps them individually, but it helps us for grant procurements as well. If I can track those numbers. Right now, it's a tedious process to get the breakdown from dispatch per department. But what I will tell you just from the EMS side, so the way the dispatch system works, it's one call. I was dispatched to one call. It doesn't matter if I transport 5 patients off that call or do 5 refusals, it still only counts as one call. But in my system, it shows all 5 different patients. So therefore it's 5 different calls. This will allow them to do the same thing in the ESO that they don't have access to in my responding, which gives them a more accurate number for calls for grants. And also allows all of the services to have the same software. They'll all get the same training from ESO. We'll train all the departments on how to utilize the software, help them with the implementation and getting all that stuff up and running along with myself and my staff. And then also it gives them access to the CAD import feature, which we have. So when we go on a call, there's a button that says CAD import. I click the button and all of our times, the address we were dispatched to, anything that was in the CAD automatically populates into that report without having to come through and look through emails and figure out those times in the email and the dispatch system that comes across. So it makes it'll help them and make their life a little bit easier on the software side. And then since all the departments will have the same software, it makes it easier for us to guide them through how to utilize that software.
You have funding available to pay for.
Yes, sir.
And I think I discussed this with you the other day. The second paragraph in there about the FRO.
Yes, sir.
being tied to the funding. We want to hold off on that there. I know. it's
That's
in
fine.
here.
It potentially is what it should have said. That was a typo on my part.
Okay,
So I
that's fine.
apologize for that.
We're gonna-
It wasn't something because we hadn't even discussed that before. Like I said, it was definitely a typo on my explanation letter.
No, that's perfect. Anybody have any questions or comments for Ron?
No, how's the report now, Ron?
So that's one of the issues we have. Some of the firemen are doing reports and some of them are not. Through the I'm responding. And a lot of that is because the I'm responding software is not user friendly at all. And Quentin and John can attest to that in communications. The software is not designed for that. The other huge advantage they're going to have with ESO is it does all of their infra's reporting for them. So the National Fire Information Statistics data that they're required to track, ESO, every time they do a fire chart and submit it, it automatically reports that stuff to infra's forms. So it's not individual forms they're having to fill out. So it just makes their life a little bit easier too.
Okay, and we're gonna provide the system to them and provide them with the training
Correct.
that's needed.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's all included in the quote.
Okay, do they get laptops or how does it work?
You can use the software from your cell phone. So they can actually start the chart while they're on scene with their cell phone. If not, we can look at procuring some tablets or something for them to utilize.
The only reason I say that is because if they use their cell phones, they're using up their data, they're using up. and it may
yeah.
cost them, I'm just thinking.
Most of the fire departments have static desktops at the station, which is where they do all the reports anyway. And these aren't reports. They're not like us. They don't have to do these reports on scene. They can literally do them when they get back to the station. So if they need assistance with Wi-Fi or something like that, we can look into that for individual departments that may need assistance for having access. But they all pretty much have Wi-Fi and they all have desktops in their offices at their stations. So it shouldn't be an issue on that side.
The only reason I say laptop is because
But the tablets are too inexpensive to where we couldn't buy some and issue them out to the fire departments if we needed to. I've got funding for that as well.
that's what, I mean, personally, that's what I'd probably suggest because they're taking time from their work or sleep or whatever.
Mm.
And if they
Right.
could take it to work or do whatever.
Yeah.
To make it more convenient for them, so they don't have to set it at the firehouse.
We'll discuss that post court and see what kind of, we'll get with IT and see what kind of procurement process we're gonna go through and see what a good number is for each department. We can put that on the next agenda.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, entertain a motion.
So
Motion by Commissioner Tyne, second by Commissioner Hammond. If you don't know, it'll probably go back and forth here today.
he beat me on that.
And then I don't even think it needs a discussion. The only other thing I had was the annual renewal of the AD contracts on the consent agenda, which I don't foresee being an issue. So That's the only agenda that I had. So thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Go back up to the top. We'll go to 1.1, discuss and consider appointing Justin Loomis to replace Ross Owens to represent National Property Holdings Ameriport on the Cedar Bayou Navigation District of Boards of Directors. Does anybody have this or? All right, I'll just entertain a motion.
So move.
Second by Tyus. There's no further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 1.2, discuss and consider Juneteenth resolution submitted by Dr. R. Gene Eccles. And we had him speak on that a while ago. Motion by Commissioner Tyus. Second by Commissioner Hammond. No further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 1.3, discuss and consider engagement agreement between Bickerstaff Health, Delago Acosta LLP to advise the Chambers County P3 committee on all P3 projects. Dwayne.
Yes, good morning, commissioners.
Morning.
Just wanted to, well, just a little history on this. We have been working with Bickerstaff, the county, for over 30 years. They have a relationship, a long-term relationship with this county as being bond counsel for us. They, after talking to their attorney that's assigned to P3s, Mr. Gregory Miller, he is and the firm itself are very experienced with P3 contracts. The committee has voted and approved Bickerstaff as an advisor. The reason why we're seeking an advisement is that is common industry standard when engaging P3 contracts. So it is very pertinent for us to have an advisor that will be working on the county's interests and advising us accordingly. Purchasing department is also in agreement and will be working with as they have been the committee as well as Bickerstaff. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer them as I can.
Anybody have any questions for Dwayne? No?
So move.
Motion by Commissioner Hammond, second by Commissioner Tyus.
Thank you.
No further questions.
I just want to commend Dwayne on his diligence on this whole process right here. So he hadn't let up a bit. So during this, we appreciate that.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. I want to apologize to go back to 1.2. Want to read the resolution.
Whereas the United States of America is made up of people from every nation on earth who are declared equal, not only in freedom, but also justice. And whereas our nation was conceived on July 4th, 1776, with the Declaration of Independence, the classic statement being, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal and they are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. And whereas President Abraham Lincoln signing this issued the Emancipation Proclamation effective January 1st, 1863, freeing the enslaved people in the South and within any state or designated part of a state shall be then henceforward and forever free. And whereas the Emancipation Proclamation made the abolition of slavery permanent and free Black Americans from bondage, the order was ignored by Southern slave owners and in Texas, which was the last state with institutional slavery. And on June 19th, 1865, 2.5 years later, Army General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston, Texas, with a General Order number 3 proclaiming the end of both the Civil War and slavery. General Granger made this announcement in the order. The people of Texas are informed that in accordance with a proclamation from the executive of the United States, all slaves are free. And whereas formerly enslaved people in Galveston and throughout Texas commenced celebrating Juneteenth in 1866, which became an annual celebration of freedom. And whereas on this day since become known as Juneteenth, and whereas oral reports from residents in Chambers County indicate community-wide Juneteenth celebrations date back to the late 1800s. And whereas residents of Chambers County began organizing countywide Juneteenth celebrations in the 1990s, and whereas on January 1st, 1980, Juneteenth became an official Texas state holiday. And whereas President Joseph R. Biden Jr. signed the Juneteenth National Independence Day Act on June 17, 2021, officially designating Juneteenth as a federal holiday. Now therefore it be resolved that the members of the Chambers County Commissioners Court hereby proclaim June 19th, 2022 as Juneteenth National Freedom Day in Chambers County, Texas. Resolved this 14th day of June, 2022.
Yeah, want to do a picture?
That's long-winded.
We're going with Friday.
Go with Rachel first. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Really appreciate it.
Yes,
Right.
That one had me tongue twisted.
Then first. Okay, we're going down to economic development and tourism, 5.1. Discuss and consider authorizing a down payment in the amount of $13,893.12 to the Sunset Room in Austin to use as the venue for the social gathering of Chambers County Day at the Capitol in 2023. Samantha.
So you guys have in your packet, and to make the public aware, Heather and I have been, and Lauren have been working for several months now to revive Chambers County Day at the Capitol. We were unable to do it in 2021 due to COVID-19. We felt that that was the best and safest decision for ourselves and for any participants, but we are ready to bring it back in 2023. This is a very historical event. It's 1996 was the first one, Heather. 96 was the first one. So this has been happening for a very long time, and we're excited to have it back. After some extensive discussion and kind of evaluation of other potential sites, Heather and Lauren and I have agreed that the Sunset Room worked out reasonably well enough. City of Austin put in place some regulations prohibiting the provision of outside food and drink if a facility had a kitchen on site. They also have some regulations pertaining to cooking on site. And because food is obviously such a huge part of my life and Chambers County's culture, it's very important to us that we're able to provide a regional fare like the alligator sauce pecan, the gumbo, fried seafood fresh from the Gulf at this event. And so this facility is one of the only ones in the city of Austin that would allow us to do that. And it is the only one that is in walking distance of the Capitol. So I've talked with the event planner at the Sunset Room, and she's given us the price list, which you have included in your packet. And we are required to pay down payment of $13,893.12. We already have a budget line with funds in it established for this use. So asking for you guys to do today is to let me pay them.
Anybody have any questions?
So maybe.
Motion by Commissioner Tynes,
Second.
second by Commissioner Hammond. Any questions?
Excited to have it back.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 5.2, discuss and consider approving the fiscal year 23 Hop Fund Application Review Committee as recommended by the Department of Economic Development and Grant Manager Samantha.
So last year, my team and I worked with the auditors and several different departments to I'm sorry, I leaned against that. Just for dramatic effect. A little flair on my presentation here. We worked with several different departments to update the hotel occupancy tax grant program. The old program was fine. I just felt like we could do a better job of aligning with the statutes that established that program. So we updated that. And one of the provisions that we put in place was a standard due date of June 1st for all applications for the following fiscal year. And then a review committee that would look at those applications, determine their eligibility for funding and the level of funding that review committee felt like they should receive. And then that will be presented to Commissioners Court likely at the end of this month or very first meeting of July. And the point of that was that this committee will have a little more time and a little more information to look at the past 12 months of reporting if somebody has participated prior to that year, to see if their reports were on time, the quality of their reports. When they applied, how many people they said were going to come versus how many people actually came, reporting on the actual hotel occupancy that was utilized, the things that are the tenets of this program. They could evaluate that, make the decision, and then come to you guys. So we have selected 3 Chambers County residents, participants to work on this committee, and we're asking for your support in that. It is John Mulryan. And the reason that we selected John, for those of you who don't know, he's a constable. He worked for the sheriff's office for a long time, and he has served as security at many of the events that apply for hot funds. So he's very well aware of the volume of people that come, how organized it is, and what it's like to work with those people. We selected Amy Turner, who has grant experience. She worked for the Waterborne Education Center, and so she's going to be able to provide that unique grant regulatory experience. And then we've also asked Lindsay Davis to be a part of this committee. She's a member of the auditor's staff, and she actually does the auditing on a lot of these grants, so she's going to have the back end information. So we tried to select a range of people to participate, but we feel that those people are going to be able to provide valuable insight for you guys. And I do just want to reiterate, it's in your memo, but if we come to you, somebody applies for, say, $10,000, the committee comes and says, you know what, I really think they only need 7. You guys have the prerogative to say, we're going to give them the full 10. That is y'all's prerogative as commissioners. But this committee will just make a recommendation to you.
Okay. All right, entertain a motion.
So moved.
Any questions or comments for Samantha on this? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll go to 5.3, discuss and consider approving the contract with PBK Architect to perform a feasibility facility study of Airport Road in Anahuac in the advance of any future development of facilities paid for by the American Rescue Plan Act. Samantha.
So this is something that Mike and I have worked on together for several months. And I believe that you guys are all familiar with it, but as we move forward with the growth of the county, we're having to develop some additional facilities as we grow. And Airport Road has kind of tended to be, for lack of a better word, the dumping ground for those development opportunities. And so Mike and I felt that it would behoove us to do a facilities and feasibility study of that property, determine what detention would be necessary to ensure that we don't create any more flooding issues, to evaluate what infrastructure was there and where the expansion of infrastructure would need to happen before we would move forward with any other construction. So you guys have the contract. PBK, it really is giving us a great deal on the cost of this study. And Mike has a great working relationship with them as well. And we worked with George, and he felt the same way. And so I recommend that we go ahead and move forward with that. That way we can expedite it, get through it before. I know there are a couple of projects that are pending that may potentially locate there. We can get that done before.
All right, entertain a motion.
But
Oh, Commissioner Valentine, second by Commissioner
Hammond.
Hammond. Any questions?
Jimmy.
comments?
I guess my question is, PBK being an architectural firm, I guess they have the staff necessary to
Yeah,
work on drainage and detention.
they have civil engineers on staff that will be looking at this.
Okay, good deal.
Yes, sir. I can send you a copy of the contract if you'd like it. It's in the packet, but I can email that directly to you as a
Thank you.
copy. Yes, sir.
Would that include that plat on the north side of 65?
Yes, sir.
also?
So they're actually gonna look at that north plat, the southern plat directly across from 65, as well as the entirety of Airport Road.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And by infrastructure, just to clarify for laymen or people who aren't as familiar, infrastructure includes water, sewer, roadways, electrical, and it now includes broadband. So those are things that will be evaluated through this study.
Any other questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, motion carries. 5.4, discuss and consider procuring a qualified archaeological firm to evaluate the potential historical sensitivity artifacts discovered at Fort Anahuac Park and monitor construction activities associated with Fort Anahuac Park splash pad thereafter.
Surprise, we found bricks.
And
Oh.
it's over there somewhere, right?
Yeah, I know that Miss Annette's here. As you guys know, obviously you have partnered with AMDD to construct a splash pad in Fort Anahuac Park. There was a tree that was dead and overhanging both the playground and the splash pad, and it had to be removed. And in the process of removal, one of the park's facilities guys discovered some bricks that we believe are potentially historically significant. And so in doing our due diligence, because we obviously recognize the historical significance of that park and we want to ensure that we preserve that history, we reached out to the Historical Commission, the Texas Historical Commission. As we have to do just for public information, anytime we do any work in an area that is potentially historically sensitive, we request permission from the Historical Commission and guidance on how to proceed to ensure that we are not negatively impacting any potential artifacts. But we reached out to Marie Archambault, who is our contact there, and she did let us know that we need to, before we proceed with anything, go ahead and hire a qualified architecture firm to come in and evaluate that site, and then continue to have them on site through the completion of that project, if we are allowed to continue at that site. I talked with Cheryl Shaw. She has been wonderful and accommodating, and she provided me information on the archaeological investigation that they did when they put the statues in. And that particular investigation cost about $12,000, which is far less than I anticipated. So that made me feel real good. And I don't know how much is going to cost us, full disclosure, but it's not something we have an option of doing. We have to do it. So I'm going to work with George and his team. I've already spoken with George, and we'll get those procurement documents going if you guys will authorize us to do so. And we will keep everybody abreast of the situation. I think that, obviously this does delay a project, but it is a really unique opportunity for us that we should be excited about as well. And I would like to see some public involvement and invite the public to come out when we do have that archaeologist on site, and kind of visit the site, watch how the archaeologist works. Because this may be, for some people, including myself, the first and only opportunity that they have to see that in action. So I'd like to have some public engagement when we have that, just kind of an aside.
Okay, where's the funding coming from to pay for this?
Aaron,
Aaron.
general fund, probably.
Okay,
He'll figure it out and I'll let you know.
I think Ms. Annette had a
Yes.
comment.
You want-
I know. We're just, we've been talking a little bit. I didn't
Yes,
know
ma'am.
it was on the agenda this morning. This was on the agenda.
Yes, ma'am.
But our concern is, what if they come in and say, nope, can't do it here? Is there any way we could, the county can kind of go forward looking for plan B? as to
We
where
will.
else it can be?
Well,
Or do you want to wait?
yeah, let's speak afterwards. We will.
Okay, all right.
My recommendation would be that we procure this
Yeah.
archaeologist before we do anything and then kind of decide from there. The park is mostly historically sensitive, and so we may run into this issue in other areas. I'd like to exhaust this potential location before we move forward, but yeah, I'll get in touch with you on that. Yeah.
Okay, Entertain a motion.
So
Was a tie.
By Commissioner Hammond. No further questions, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, motion carried. Thank
That's
you,
it for me.
Samantha.
Thanks, guys.
I think you have some stuff on the consent.
I have stuff on consent. but it
Does
should
anybody
be-
have any questions for Samantha on
Orally.
the consent? Look quick like you was,
No, mine are just my report, and then it's just the notification that I did draw down that second tranche of American
yes.
Rescue Act funds. But that's no big deal. They'll just hit our account, and I've already been working with the treasurer's office on it. So
The list of projects we had covers this second around the funding as well.
it surpasses that,
Surpasses that. Okay.
which was intentional.
Okay. That's it.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Samantha.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, we're gonna go to 5.5. Conduct a public hearing at 10 a.m. regarding the Houston Transloading Partners 1 LLC reinvestment zone at 10 o'clock. It is now 10:07. So we will recess out of our regular commissioner's court and go to a public hearing.
good job.
Okay. BJ?
Yes, good morning, Commissioners. This is a public hearing to address the reinvestment zone application by Houston Transloading Partners 1 LLC. The court approved the request last court. Reinvestment zones are required to establish a premise for going forward with the tax abatement for the project. Just as a matter of reminder, this is a $25 million project, logistics and distribution project in Cedarport Industrial Park. Potential creation of anywhere from 300 to 500 jobs. They're going to be the sole or the exclusive distributor for logistics for the retailer target.
And what's anybody else have a public comment on it?
I just.
Get her up,
What
get
you
her up.
said, the distribution. what?
It's a logistics and distribution project.
Is your microphone on?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Logistics distribution.
Yeah.
Project.
It's
Project.
logistics and distribution project that's
Okay.
going to be located. in-
No,
Yes.
Target,
Okay,
another target.
okay, any other public comments? Okay. We will adjourn out of our public hearing at 10:09 a.m. and go back to our regular session Commissioner Court. And go to 5.6, discuss and consider order designation Houston Transloading Partner 1 LLC reinvestment zone. BJ.
Yes, thank you, Commissioners. This is an order that would designate and create the Houston Transloading Partners 1 LLC 2022 reinvestment zone. As noted in the recitals, that the court has adopted tax abatement guidelines. The applicant or HTP has applied for the tax abatement or the establishment of the reinvestment zone. All the notices were appropriately published, and the designation of reinvestment zone will provide the path to go forward with the court approving tax abatement based upon the terms that were presented last court.
Anybody have any, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Tynes,
Second.
second by Commissioner Hammond. Anybody have any questions or comments for BJ? No? Okay, all in favor? Any opposed, motion carried. We'll go to,
Thank you, Commissioners. May I, given that the court has approved the reinvestment zone, consideration would be to schedule a public hearing to review or discuss, consider the agreement, and at the next available court that would meet the 30-day requirement. That would be July 26th this year.
July 26, 10 a.m.
Yes,
It's just for July.
yes.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll set a public hearing for July 26 at 10 a.m. and that's Commissioner's Court. Okay. We will go on to 5.7, discuss and consider SBR Cedarport 2 owner LP reinvestment zone application. BJ.
Thank you, Commissioners. You may recall the SBR Cedarport 2 owner LP or SBR CP2 is phase 2 of the Plastic Express project that the court approved the tax abatement application last court. What you have before you is an application to designate the creation of the SBR Cedarport 2 owner LP 2022 reinvestment zones that the project can proceed through the tax abatement consideration. process. The request, as noted, is that the public hearing to establish the reinvestment zone be conducted on June 28th of this year. Just as a matter of reminder, this, again, phase 2 of Classic Express, it's 800,000 square foot facility, and potential revenues that the county's going to derive over term estimated to be $3.6 million.
Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Anybody got any questions or comments for BJ on this? Okay, all in favor? Opposed, motion carried. We go to 5.8, discuss and consider request to assign TGS Cedarport Partners LP tax abatement agreement to TGS CP 4224 Bars Dock Road LLC. BJ.
It's a mouthful. Thank you, Commissioner. This is a request, as stated, that's being requested by TGS Cedarport Partners LP for a tax abatement agreement that they entered into with the county back in 2020. They're requesting assigning to another TGS related entity, TGS CP 4224 Barge Dock Road LLC. This is allowable under the agreement, under Section 9 of the agreement. However, the assignment cannot be facilitated until the court provides consent. So that's the request that's put up for you.
Okay,
So,
motion by Commissioner Tice, second by
Hammond.
Commissioner Hammond. Any comments or questions for BJ? No, all in favor? Any opposed, motion carries. We'll go to 5.9, discuss and consider resolution assigning a TGS Cedarport Partners LP tax abatement agreement to TGS CP 4224 Barge Dock Road LLC. BJ.
Thank you, Commissioners. Draft resolution that would approve the assignment, and also attached to this is a consent estoppel that has the conditions of the assignment. And the resolution is simply per the recitals noted that the county authorized the execution of the abatement back in 2020. That TGSCP requires to assign these rights to TGSCP 4224 Barge Dock Road LLC. And the court essentially is approving this. So the resolution notes that be resolved that Commissioners Court, all recitals are correct, and the county agrees that and approves the assignment. And so the resolution is presented for approval.
Okay. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
second.
Any questions or comments for BJ? All in favor?
All right.
Any opposed, motion carried. We'll go to 5.10. Discuss and consider NRG Cedar Bio Project Moonshot. I have a couple of BJ, but I also have a couple of citizens' comments, so whenever they would like to speak.
Okay, very good. Just as an overview, Project Moonshot is a project that NRG has been in development for, I guess, over a year. They're considering several sites and state to site what is a 690 megawatt electric power generation facility that obviously would sell power to the Texas wholesale power market. Their Cedar Bayou facility is one of the candidates for this. Is a competitive project. There's several other facilities or locations that they're considering. This is approximately $564 million project. They have been in dialogue with all the taxing entities associated with this. Just as a matter of reminder, back in 2007, 2008, the court participated in incentivizing CB4 for NRG. It's important to note, just as we make the case for consideration based upon the letter of intent that's presented today, is that this allows for, if in fact the CB5 is sited at the Cedar Bayou facility, it continues to enhance the competitive aspects of our ability to compete for projects and power generation. In the LOI that's presented for consideration today, under Article 3, items 302, 303, and 304, it makes the case that the ad valorem tax consideration that is presented for review today allows that Project Moonshot will be able to continue to improve the regional capacity for us to attract and retain industry. So the letter LOI, a letter of intent today that's presented for consideration, is in complement to one that has been approved by the Goose Creek School District, considering their Chapter 313 application, and the county's requested to consider it an approval today so that they can present this as part of their development and investment package. The city of Baytown is also doing this as well as Lee College for the first time. And so this is an important project for consideration. David Freeman, who's the development executive, I think is teed up. Yes, and we'll be glad to give an overview of the project to complement what I've already shared.
Is he ready to speak?
Yes, Dave.
David Freeman, Senior Director of Project Development.
Yes, first of all, just want to express many thanks for the long history that NRG has had in the county with this particular site. I think we're in excess of 50 years at this site with Unit 1 going online in 1970 and running and contributing to the community, both in terms of electricity and jobs and just being a partner within the community for that long period of time. But I think everyone harkens back to Storm Uri, a year and a half ago, and the supply challenges that our state face, and as the state converts to greater and greater renewable supplies, solar and wind, with most of that going on in West Texas, we need to complement that sort of supply with a very dependable call at our beck and call whenever we need it, whether it's during a storm or at night. And we need to have that proximate to our key and critical loads. And nowhere is better than that than I think this particular site. And I think one of the things that most impresses me about this site relative to the other options is that this community seems to be about having an effective balance between necessary industry jobs, but right in our community is some of the best recreation and environmental enjoyment of life possible. And so I think this project as proposed continues with that long history, that spirit, that community of cooperation. And I'm here to ask any questions. I know we've presented a couple of times over the past year on the project itself.
Anybody have any questions? Mr. David Freeman? I'd love to see something over on this side of the river. BJ.
Another story.
Anyway. Anyway. Okay, no. Okay, we have, does anybody have any questions for them? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Freeman. I'll let Rusty, if you still want to speak.
No, I think it's been well covered, so.
Okay,
Here, back up.
okay, thank you, Rusty. Okay. So, you have citizen comment?
I just have a question. Is it Freeman or Freeman?
Freeman, F-R-E-E-M-A-N. Yes, ma'am.
So we're looking at, they're asking for a 10-year, 100%.
That is correct. Yeah, under
10 years.
10 years, 100%. And over the economic life of the project, which is approximately 39 years, the county would derive, it's assuming that the tax rate is held constant, $39.5 million over time. That is obviously outside of the scope of the revenue that's been derived over the since 2016 to 2021. The county revenue, the revenue generated from the legacy facility is about $3.4 million.
Okay.
I think this also opens other opportunities too, so.
Yes.
Okay. All right, entertain a motion.
So good.
Motion by Commissioner Tice, second by.
Hammond.
I will make sure you was on board.
No, you're reading there.
That's all good. Anybody else have any questions or comments for BJ or Rusty or Mr. Freeman? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, BJ, Mr. Freeman, Rusty. We look forward to working with y'all in the future as well.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, BJ.
Echoed here. Thank you. Appreciate it much.
Good to see you, Commissioner. Okay, we will go to Parks and Recreation, 6.1, discuss and consider a loan in the amount of $360,000 for payout of YLS exhibitors with a repayment of the Chambers County by the 2022 auction buyers. This is just a deal we do each year to fund them, so we don't have to wait for all the funds to come in, so the kids can get their money up front and move forward. So,
Second.
by Commissioner Ty, second by Commissioner Hammond. No further questions or comments. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Collecting that money. So that should be paid back rather quickly.
Yes, it's come a long way. We appreciate the effort and everybody that puts into it. Greatly appreciate it. We'll go to maintenance and buildings, nope, nothing there. We'll go to solid waste, 8.1, discussing their adopting the revised solid waste ordinance. Anybody have any questions or comments on this here? Well, only, and like, I have a comment on it. The only thing I see is I want to make sure and cover.
100,
Yes,
90, starts at 99.
is, one thing I worked with, I talked with the sheriff about this the other day, about residents that live out of county that have houses and property that here to pay full tax, nothing, they're not homesteaded or anything like that, so they are paying actually a higher rate of tax than someone that's here that is homesteaded. We can either change the color of the sticker so it's apparent when they go into the box site that they are out of town. Even though the vehicles are registered somewhere else, they do have property here. Only other thing that I've encountered is a lot of people within the east side, a lot of them drive company trucks. That's the only vehicle they have, period. They don't have personal vehicles. When companies give them trucks, that's what they have. So we approach that a lot. Some of them have out-of-state license plates on the trucks and stuff like that, but we verify where they live and everything like that. So I think that's another thing we need to be able to address, because they are taxpayers, and even though they drive a company truck, it needs to be addressed. Also, I mentioned the other day that the last court, when we discussed this here, that they were, it's still showing that seniors and veterans, they get one free sticker. I mean, I busted a windshield on my truck now. Stickers don't come off easy. And we're gonna go back and charge them $50 for another sticker. We need to address that.
That's not for a replacement sticker. A replacement sticker is free.
Okay, it's,
So,
okay.
yeah.
It wasn't worded like that. That's very nice.
Yeah, that's not, that wasn't the intent of that. So just get one free sticker. Because the problem we had, again, abuse, you know, some of the seniors get free stickers, so they come and get 4 stickers. So, you know, that was the part we was trying to address there.
Okay.
So we do have something in place for property owners that do not live here. We
Yeah,
have,
the 30-day deal.
yeah, we have temporary permit for them. And I kind of agree with Commissioner Gore. We do need to kind of address a deal with people that have company trucks that do live in the county. So
I mean, you want to,
Supply a driver's license, I don't know what that.
well, we do, we do that. And we verify, we pull up on the tax roll, we verify it through that there. I just don't, when they go out, if we get the license plate reader, it's not gonna ding it. You see what I'm saying?
right, yeah.
And then if the guy at the box site brings it up to them, it's not gonna show, because they either arrest them out of state to save money or whatever the reason may be, but they live within the county and stuff like that. I mean, I'm all for saving everything that goes to the landfill. I mean, I checked the trend over the last 3 years, and actually we have an increase. I mean, even with all the new people moving in, apparently they're getting garbage hauled by some other facility and going to another box site, because our garbage has not increased that great amount. It's surprising to me. But I just want to make sure that we're doing the best we can for our taxpayers and not making a burden on them.
Yeah.
Commissioner, I'd like to say that that for those residents in Smith Point, that it's a long haul from Smith Point to Anahuac.
I go by all the time and it really is.
From Smith Point, not from Double Bow to Anahuac. from
No,
Smith
no.
Point to
Yes.
Anahuac is a long haul, and I kind of prefer that. Mr. Woody said Monday, because then that way you can kind of take care of the weekend garbage too.
I totally agree. And I spoke, I went down there. and-
$5 a gallon in gas.
I agree. I mean, we could go to 4 days a week down there. I mean, that's something we could look at. I don't know if you want to table it and bring it back with the changes in it or just make amendments to it. I think we just need to do it all at one time. But I hate to see them going down to the boat launch, filling up all the deals down there, or it wind up on the roadside. Or Sean's having to investigate it, or Victoria's having to send out notices for people park their trucks and fill them up with garbage like that as well, so. But,
So I want to move forward with this. I do want to change the Smith Point, I make amendment for the Smith Point site. To go Monday, Wednesday, Friday and Saturday. So. I think any permits issued that don't meet all the criteria in here needs to be approved by the commissioner that it affects. So
I agree.
that way there's some little checks and balances there. So,
And I guess we can approve this here and then come back with the changes next quarter.
You can approve it with change.
You can approve it with the change.
okay.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you, Ms. Evans. Keep me in check.
That's right.
Okay, what was your other, with commissioner and the precinct?
Yeah.
Okay,
And I don't think that necessarily has to be stated in here. I think we all know that, you know.
yes,
'cause I know Lisa comes to me with anything out of the ordinary, so
that would cover the company
Yeah,
trucks and
that
everything.
that
like
covers
that.
the company truck, so. And then that gives us the opportunity to keep that in check, so.
Absolutely.
So I'm good with that. So I'll move the motion.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Hammond, second by Commissioner Tice. No further questions, all in
And I
favor?
think that,
Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
I think you're trying to work something out with Woody for his particular situation.
Oh,
Down there.
no, he's got that took care of. I thought-
Oh, that's good.
One day. taken care of.
Okay, good deal. All right.
Okay, all in favor? Any opposed, motion carries. 8.2, discuss and consider awarding the RFP for professional environmental service for Hydrex Environmental Incorporated.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Ty, second by Commissioner Hammond. All in favor?
Alright.
Any
TH is
opposed,
on there.
motion carries. Do what?
H&T's on there.
All right, anybody need a break? We're good to go. Communications technology 11.1, discuss and consider adding section 6.2. Hours of support to the Chambers County Information Technology Policy.
So moved.
Okay, motion by
Second.
Commissioner Hammond, second by Commissioner Tice. Any questions or comment? Derek is at the podium.
No, there, hey, there,
Dream team up there.
What's up, Derek?
How are y'all? Good morning.
If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. 11.2, discuss and consider procurement of Civic Plus, Civic Clerk Agenda Management Systems.
Yes. 1 second.
So my.
Motion by Commissioner Ty, second by Commissioner Hammond. And I have spoke with Derek and we sat down and had a meeting about all this.
Did we find funding for that?
It's budgeted.
It's budgeted through your office?
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
we did. We looked at multiple vendors.
Yeah, I knew all that,
yeah,
but I just
okay.
wanted to make sure that you had it funded.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good deal. Thank you, Derek.
Can I ask for the help desk number that you get that published out?
Yes, sir.
Good, so everybody can find that. 'Cause
You come out from my office?
I have no idea where to find that. Yeah.
My office, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what my intention is to just make a centralized number
We actually talked about that
Okay,
yesterday coincidentally, but
Right.
it's on my immediate to-do list.
okay.
Anything else? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, we're down to the consent agenda. Commissioner Hammond, do you have anything you'd like to look at for
We'll pull 5 and 6.
5 and 6? We'll pull.
And then I'd like Mike to speak a little bit on 20.
Right, and number 20.
That's awarding the construction for Cook Park.
Okay.
Ball fields.
So we're gonna pull all we need to and then go back and discuss each one, okay? 5, 6, 20, all right?
Yeah, Mike, can go ahead and address.
Okay, so on Cook Baseball Field Complex, we bid it. We have gone in, value engineered, reworked, tried to figure out if we took water and sewer a different way. There's a whole lot about that site that is a little bit different than the Anahuac site. Basically, for everybody's knowledge, both of the fields are basically the same. The locations are different. But there's a big difference in cost, and there's just a big difference in the time we bid Anahuac and then the time that we bid this one. We've gone through almost line item by line item. Underground utilities is considerably much more money. Now, there are reasons for that just because of the site and the amount of distance that it takes us to get out to the street and to the water and the sewer. It doesn't help that site that there's a 10-inch water main running right down the middle of that whole site that goes all the way to Bolivar Island. So there's a little bit of, you have to dodge that, they've got an easement down through there, so we have to stay a certain distance away from that pipe. But a lot of this extra cost is just the times we're in right now. So we've looked at it. We got with Trinity Bay. I mean, we've done everything we could, and finally we put the number together and we said, "Hey, here it is." So.
Yeah, and then the judge and I met with Aaron the other day, and I think, Aaron, if you'd like to update the court on that we possibly have funds that we can adjust around and cover the average.
Yeah, I think we suggested to use the Chamber Parkway Extension money to cover the overages for the park. I think the idea is to use the TERS money, Liberty Investment Zone, to build that. We still have money set aside for the right of way for that project, the 3180, and that's not gonna be touched. But you get about 3 million in the Parkway Extension project.
And how much of that do we need for the overage?
We need about 1.2.
Yep.
So, and now, for Winnie, you got 5.2 remaining in the budget.
For Cook. And the project's gonna cost 6.4 million. Which isn't inclusive.
Yeah, and there's a couple of things that we need to understand that are gonna have to be on top of this that we haven't had time to bring to court. One of them is we're saving considerable money, bringing all of the power down the back of the site. We are still working on that. I anticipate that to cost probably about $50,000. Haven't finalized all that yet. And then, of course, most of the IT stuff's in here, most everything's in here, but we still are gonna have testing, that kind of stuff that's gonna, I gotta come back and put all that on. So this is just for the contractor's cost. There's a few more costs you're gonna have to add on to it, but in the $100,000 range, I'm expecting right now.
Okay, all this here, does this include any kind of contingency, or is this just flat? This is it?
Now, there is contingency in the project right now for the contractor. On the other jobs that we have going right now, just this and that and little things here and there have eaten up our contingency. I won't go into Aqua Texas and the west side and all the problems over there, but anyway.
Okay. I think,
Hang on, Bobby wants to say something.
Bobby has a comment.
What about the relocation of the road and bridge yard? Where does that money come from?
Come out of the fund that you and I discussed.
What is that? Road and bridge.
Road and bridge.
Thanks a lot. I'm okay, yeah.
Take a deep breath.
Yeah. We have some, there's some of those drainage funds that we did use and some things like that. And like I said, we never get to all that because of the we've got a late start on our roads. We probably have some funds left there to take care of. We got to buy some property and then do some moving and setting up. So, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Think about it.
Commissioner, I've been through issue halfway, money clear.
Yeah, that was more for the public to hear all that.
Almost definitely. Okay, do you have anything else on that?
No, sir. That was it.
Commissioner Tynes?
No, I didn't say.
Okay, we'll go back to 5 and 6. Personnel, you want to discuss it?
Executive session.
Executive session?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, we can go ahead. I'll entertain a motion on the rest of it except 5 and 6.
So moved.
By Commissioner Hammond, second by Commissioner Tynes, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. So we will recess and go to executive session to 10:39. Or we'll take a short recess for executive session. Items that may include but not limited to after section under the government code personnel. Section 551.074, consultation with attorney, section 551.071. Deliberation of real regarding real property, section 551.072, deliberation regarding security devices or security audit. So we will recess at 10:39, take a 5-minute to 10:40, take a 5-minute break and go to executive session. And we took 5 and 6 to executive order, executive session, sorry about that. We had some parcels of land purchase, Tommy, entertain motion.
Okay, move that court approve the purchase of parcel D for the Justice Center complex.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Hammond, second by Commissioner Tice. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, we'll go to the consent agenda 19.5. Approved job descriptions.
19.5, I move that we approve the job descriptions as stated.
Motion by Commissioner Hammond, second by Commissioner Tice. No further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. 19.6, approved payroll changes.
I move that we approve all the payroll changes with the exception of the 3 tax office employees merit raises.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Hammond, seconded by Commissioner Tice. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. There's nothing else coming before the court. We are adjourned at 12:03 p.m.
Thank you, sir.